Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with another Killikit for November. And today is going to be a little different. So I'm using the stuff from my Killikit, documenting this picture of my kids looking over into the main area of the Smithsonian. And it is the Natural History Museum. So I've got some scraps that I want to use, if not all of, part of. And then here are my embellishments. These top ones are from a Jolie's Bayou Museum set. And then these over here on the side are from the Simple Stories collection that was in my kit. And then the things down here on the bottom are from the Vicki Boutin Fernwood. All of my papers are also from Vicki Boutin Fernwood, except I'm bringing in a solid from the solid paper pad from the color box that I brought in. So I am hoping to use up all of this stash and creating some layers with these papers. So I've got my papers, my embellishments, and my picture. So let's see how this goes. So first things first, I wanted a layered effect. So I got this, the circled paper from the Fernwood, and then I trimmed down that, it's like a charcoal, not black, but it's pretty close. And I cut that down to, I think I started at 11.5 and then went down to 11.25 because I wanted you to be able to see the circles all around, like the outside part, so that when I put this inside part in the middle, you could tell that it was a continuation of what was on the outside. So then I distressed the entire inside of the circled Fernwood paper. I do not distress the black solid cardstock, but I did just distress the entire outside of that Fernwood. And now I am trying to figure out, I do want to use this yellow to bring that yellow from the background paper forward. And it's just a scrap, and I trimmed my picture down just a smidge so that it would fit within that piece of scrap. And then I tore the top and the bottom and debated on tearing that on the right side to be closer to the picture, but decided that I liked this big feature of layered paper because I don't have a whole lot that I'm wanting to put on here. I love this picture. I did it in portrait, so the background from where they're looking down is a little blurry, but you can obviously tell it's a very large elephant that's down there in the entryway of the Natural History Museum at the Smithsonian. And this is the one museum I knew that my son was going to love. So I have this tag from the Simple Stories collection that I tucked in. I kind of covered bits and pieces of it. Like I think it was the pumpkin or something that was on there. So then I'm just going to bring this other tag up here to kind of continue that look. And then I'm going to tuck the butterfly in up here. So you can't really tell up here that that yellow paper does not come fully around. And I bend the flap of that butterfly's right wing up, but left the left side down since it's tucked under the picture. So I am debating at this point. I have not put down or tacked down that where the picture is. I think I'm pretty much working on top of those layered papers. Or maybe I have. I cut it out. Nope, it just moved a little, so I haven't. I think I have now tacked it down. I recorded this yesterday, and I should have done the voiceover yesterday, but So I have this little word that was on the washi, and I put that at the bottom, and I think it just says restart. Like the kids had kind of had a little, not a breakdown, but they were exhausted, and Jameson had been wanting to eat. We had this little debacle downstairs because we accidentally went to the basement of the museum, not knowing that it was pretty much just a cafe and a store. And I was not paying $20 for a burger and fries for each of us because that would have been crazy. So, and my son is fully driven by food. So his stomach leads the way. So he had a little fit, not like a tantrum or anything, but just a teenager's fit. And that frustrated his sister. So the two of them were both being little bits of a pain. And so, that is how it is what it is. So I have those little corners up there and on the bottom, and those are from the Simple Stories collection. And that is why I wanted to make sure I had those tags on there, because they have that same orange. It's a little bit different than the orange in this collection, but I felt like orange is another one of those colors that I feel like all the shades of orange kind of go well together. So I put those down on the dark to kind of, break up that darkness of that blackish charcoaly paper. And then I pulled this title that says This Life. And I had some other thoughts on what I would title this, but I felt like this one was fitting. And I was grateful that after this, the kids kind of got it back together until we hiked it all the way to the Lincoln Memorial, which was a huff. Then my son kind of had a bit of a moment again, but nothing long or drawn out. So I feel like this is all I want to do, but I really want to use that museum paper or the museum embellishments. So you all, I'm going to do a second layout for you in this video. And I just felt like I want to use the museum embellishments. I want to get, all these different things used up. So what I did was I cut down this yellow paper, and I gutted the outside of it. I set aside. So my plan at this point is to use this yellow paper, this charcoal paper, which matches the other paper I used. And then the one on the inside is not that charcoal. It is actually a dark brown wood grain from the Fernwood collection. And I decided that I was going to make like a facing page to what I've already created just a few minutes ago. And so I get this down, and I'm just going to do all of it in the bottom corners, the bottom left corner. But I decided I wanted to distress all around this paper. And at this time, my plan is to just put it in the bottom corner and then do something to jazz up the top and the right side. So after I get this down in the bottom left corner, I'm looking at it, decide that I'm going to distress the top part only of this wood grain, because the bottom is really close to the picture, and I didn't want to risk tearing that up or take away from the amount of that space that distinguishes the paper to the next layer. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, something is off. I feel like I need to do something different here. And then I decided that I would go ahead and start building this layout and then see, after I got the embellishments on, what it was missing. So I used the museum. This is a picture of us outside the museum, and this is after we left. So it was raining when we went in, and as we came out, the sun was shining beautifully to where we can't even look at the camera. And it was just lovely, and we had sunshine the rest of the day, which was fabulous. So, because this is the very first thing we did as soon as we got off the metro. And so I'm using a little, it's like a paint swatch is what it looks like to me. And I just tuck the words in that are on there because I don't need them. They don't really fit. It said something about fall day or something like that, which would have been fine. But really, I just wanted it for that little extra pop of brown. So this is a Bramble Fox perspective that says sunshine, and I had pulled this out for this to create with this layout specifically, because I had taken a bunch of things that said sunshine with me when I went on our road trip. I did a scrapping on the road trip edition where I made a small travel book of some of these pictures, just just touching on each of the places we went, something to carry around and share with people, instead of this, which has all the pictures and all the, stories and all the journaling and stuff. And so I had taken that sunshine, and it didn't sunshine until almost the very last day. So I was like, yeah, I've got to use that on a layout with these pictures. So I am using some word phrases now and just tucking those in different places. And I really want to use, like I said, the rest of this museum stuff, but I'm aggravated with myself because this museum sticker does not fit. It's not going to work. This little yellow sticker that I brought out so I could bring in a different shade of yellow from the Simple Stories collection is not working. I'm getting kind of aggravated because I'm like, I really want to get these things used. And in the background, you can even see those little poles. They're called raid blockers or something like that. I've had to order those for school before, like you see in museums and in the movie theaters. So I'm trying to figure out where to put this. It's just not working for me. It's got that red on it. There's no red on my layout. I just kind of went back and forth. So then I decided to pull out the tickets from the back of one of these Fernwood scraps that I have. And I am going to cut this orange ticket because there is already some orangish colors in this layout as well as on the facing layout. And I did use those corners again, so this will look, it'll match even more the other layout that I created just a few minutes ago. And so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this ticket, and I've put a little piece of it down here on the bottom right, and then I'm going to put another piece of it up here to kind of use up some of that wood grain. And right now you can't tell that it's wood grain, but it is, I promise. And maybe in the close-ups you'll see that better. So I'm just pulling the picture up just a little so that I can get this ticket tucked in there. I wanted you to be sure that you could tell that it was a ticket, so you could see it says admit, plus it's got the little torn edge of a ticket. So I get that. And then I have this wood veneer from MK's shop, some assemblage required on Etsy. And I'm determined to use that, but it's just not working for me yet. So I'm still looking at this thinking that this is not working. I need to do something. So I'm going to tear it. This is me going crazy, y'all. So I'm going to do a tear down the side, the right side and the top. And then I'm going to use the piece that I cut this out of and mat it on that yellow. So it's pretty much going to not necessarily match the other side, but have very similar attributes, like using the same paper from the background to, and then also using that on the inside with that same dark black color or the charcoal color. So I decided that that dark color still needs a little something something. So I got out my white shimmer spray by Diane Reevely. It's Ranger. And I was only going to tap the top and the right and changed my mind, decided to put it all over. And then I pulled out my wild honey because the other yellow I have is mustard seed, and it is very yellow. And the yellow in this paper is more of the honey. So now I'm going to do a close-up of the first layout that I did. And I really do love the way that these turned out. I love how you can tell that it is pretty much, I've just cut a piece and put it in the middle. It almost looks like I put a frame around it, except for the fact that I distressed the outside of that polka dot paper or that circle paper. And I love that picture of my kids. And then this one, of course, has, if you've watched any of my other videos, my son was playing Where's Waldo and hiding in the pictures. So if you don't see him, it's because he's hiding somewhere, but he is in the picture. So I like the little splatters. When they dried, they were even more fitting with the color scheme. I got the museum used up. And don't worry, I did create another layout after this one that's not recorded. There he is back in the very back. You can barely see his little head sticking out from that pole. Of using the rest of the museum stuff. When I do my flip through of the layouts for this, the collection at the end of the month, which is only a few days away, you will see how I finished using up that collection from Jolie's. So here are the two layouts that we created together today. I hope that you all will come back again tomorrow because I will be here for the rest of this month working on this Kit to try and use up the rest of my stash. I hope you all have a fantastic day and happy scrapping.